Shout out to Satoshi's Ball by JustLearnCrypto.com in Ottawa, December 15th. Monarch token of Monarch Wallet, Stroken Tokens.com, Bitcoin Energy, and Bitbacker.io. Hey, how goes it? Ken Bozak here to talk about Bitcoin and Bitcoin accessories. And today I'm here with my bro Doug Moeller, and he is the co-founder, right? Co-founder of InsureYourBit.com. Much appreciated for you coming on the show. And a big shout out to BTC Kyle. He's already started off the podcast here with a $2 super chat. Says, "Sir, when moon?" Right now, I got $2 more than I used to. I'm already a step closer to the moon if you ask me. So moon now. How goes it, man? Thanks so much for coming on the podcast.
Yeah, it's good to be here, man. It's nice. I like this series that you're doing. It's pretty awesome. You're just chatting with random folks.
Yeah, streaming with strangers, man. It's been an interesting experiment, and I've had a mix of like everyday people and people like you that are, you know, co-founders of really cool projects, and it's a really interesting mix because sometimes I learn things and sometimes my guest learns things, and either way the listener always learns something. So it's been really beneficial so far.
Yeah, no, I've been following what you've been doing, and I've been watching along, so liking the stuff so far. Keep it going.
Much appreciated. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself to the audience? Let them know who Doug Moeller is. Let them know a little bit about InsureYourBit.com and about that little background story that you have of how you became you with them and what they do.
Sure. So my name is Doug Moeller, and I'm the founder of InsureYourBit.com. And basically what we aim to become is the basically premier provider of insurance in the digital asset space. Okay, we are pre-seed, so it's kind of a real baby right now, but it's a real baby of a space. So we're kind of looking to improve and evolve within the space as the space evolves too. How I sort of got involved with crypto, like back in the day, I was playing poker.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so
that has become a theme of the guests on my show. I'm gonna have to reach out to all you poker guys and have like a round table. But I'm sorry, please go on.
Well, I mean, when you're playing poker online, and you know, all of a sudden you can't. I don't know if you know anything about poker and the poker environment, but what happened here in the United States,
I've come to learn about it.
It is at a certain point, as a professional, you could play, and then I was literally doing so at the time. I was on 8 tables, and I was about to pull up a 9th and a 10th table because that's what I did. I played 10 tables at a time, and so when I pulled up my 9th table, it said, "I'm sorry, we no longer serve customers from your country," and it kind of my income source kind of got cut off at the seams. And what happened is the discovery of crypto, because doing what I was doing was not wrong. It just became wrong because of laws they passed and how the banks were transacting with the poker.
Right,
sites.
it wasn't illegal to you know, earn an income through playing poker. It just became against terms and services on the banking side, but that's it.
Right. Yeah, so it became impossible to move money here and there, which basically made it impossible to do it. So what crypto kind of was at the time, it gave me a way to circumvent the traditional banking system and still, you know, pursue my income online. You know, and I believe a great many poker players got involved in kind of a similar fashion, where we had an income source or an income stream that we had going through traditional banking system, and that suddenly stopped, and we needed to find a way around, and crypto just was the quickest and easiest way. Also, through some gaming channels, I don't know if you know about early
RuneScape.
Well, no, early Diablo 3,
Really?
The
Diablo.
The auction house that that Blizzard implemented had a monetary cap. So in order to exceed the cap, people were going on websites and transacting in
Ooh,
Bitcoin.
that's a big honor system though, right? Because there's no escrow in the middle. This was
Right, there, right,
true
right,
peer
right.
to peer.
It
Like,
was truly peer to peer. It was
huh.
more
Well, this
of
is why
a
Obskins kind of pops up and
right.
Wax Token and the tokenization of in-game
Hmm.
content because like you said, players had no choice but to go to peer to peer.
Exactly, and I'm following all those projects. I love those projects. I love the fact that people are creating projects like Gods of War. I don't know the recently launched beta for this Eth card game just came out not long ago, and a friend of mine, shout out to Bitcoin Louie on Twitch. He was streaming it the other night, and I was watching him. It seemed like a fun game, but the cool part is it's kind of like a Hearthstone-esque card game, right? But all the cards belong to you. They're
Yeah.
your digital
Have you
assets.
seen
And
this?
yeah, the
Steam Monsters?
Steam Monsters. Yeah, that's another cool one.
Yeah, dude,
Uh,
there's the same thing. Like the what you say,
right.
Hearthstone, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
a
same concept. It's
Hearthstone-esque.
so cool that this
Like,
is becoming a new thing. Like, we've even seen these, things like Crypto Kitties in New York City. What was that? $250,000?
right. I mean, that, there's kind of these um, amazingly spectacular big buys that happen occasionally by these collectors, but it's kind of cool. I think there was something recently that happened with that other game that I mentioned, somebody buying a card for like 167F or something
Wow.
like that. It's like, man, you see these transactions and they're huge and they're monstrous, and it's like, right.
And
Yeah,
that's probably going to be a measured in ETH transaction. See now, like that's where I see people saying one ETH equals one ETH or whatever, or one Doge equals one Doge or whatever in that
right,
scenario because I spent ETH on that card, not
right,
dollars, and I'm gonna
right.
want more ETH back than I had spent in ETH, right? Not just dollars. So it's
Exactly.
actually
If
a good
if
hedge
you're the
in a bear
flipper
market to
or
have these
whatever, right?
collectibles, right?
Yeah,
Especially now that it like this is the early time for like these collectibles. A lot of what is the new one now? There's ERC 721s and there's another one where your collectibles can own non-fungibles. Non-fungibles can own non-fungibles as well. Like uh
right.
I
Um,
forget the
I forget
number.
which the number it is
But it's
too, but
really cool
yeah,
concept that I didn't even think of, right? Like imagine your crypto kitty owning a blockchain cutie that has some other item from another game as well linked to it. It's a
right.
really cool like
And all of a
concept.
sudden, your crypto kitty's got this machine gun from a first-person shooter or something like
Right, hella cool concept that I
right,
never even thought would, be possible to cross over these non-fungibles, and now here we are, and now I'm thinking, wow, like literally the potentials of the gaming community, and moving forward into the tokenization aspect, it's limitless by imagination, and I'm really excited moving forward. But the real thing is, they do gain like value. These
right,
are very I would say status symbols of collectibles in a sense. So they do gain value very quick. And the thing we're here to talk about is kind of ensuring that value. So like, how would you go about ensuring your bit?
so what we're looking to do is actually become a repository where we are the custodian of a large deposit of Bitcoin, Ethereum, and whatever other crypto assets that we're insuring against. And then we insure people's assets against third-party custodial risk. Now, so not to say that like you personally get hacked, Ken. Like if you had bad password management and cybersecurity, stuff, and you personally were the victim of a targeted phishing attempt or a personal hack, and somebody got access to your crypto, there'd be nothing that could be done about it from that standpoint. But if a third party like and so this is where my poker background comes in. If a third party like a platform, aka a digital exchange or a digital lottery, or maybe even CryptoKitties, or a game, etc. A game platform. If they become the custodian of your crypto assets, and they suddenly go out of business, you can lose your crypto assets to
Right,
no
like
fault
Mount
of your own.
Gox. Same
Right,
same kind of
exactly. Same
scenario.
idea. Right. So what we would do is say that if the platform fails, we're going to insure the assets that you've put into it on the platform. And we can use the blockchain to verify what you put in, etc., using your address and Chainalysis. And then basically, if you're paying your monthly premium and the platform fails, or it becomes the victim of a hack, etc., and can no longer sustain itself, then we would become basically the privatized version of an FDIC type insurance for these platforms, so that persons can have assurance that their assets are safe there, if they're paying their premiums.
Okay, so we were just talking about like when one Doge equals one Doge. So are we insuring, the asset? Say if I lost a Bitcoin at today's value and it increased overnight. By the time the platform, say during like a bull run, a platform exits with my assets that were insured, do I get my dollars back or do I get my Bitcoin back?
So yeah, that's actually the thing that we're looking to do. That's much, much different from a traditional insurer, or a lot of traditional insurance companies that are trying to dip their toe into the space. They offer what I call a snapshot type insurance, where they're going to take a picture of the value of your asset at the time that the incident occurs and say it's worth X dollars at that time, and so we're going to pay you out based on the snapshot. And then when you get your payout a month later, if
Yeah,
the value
exactly.
10x's, doesn't matter, you're getting what happened then, right? But so what we would aim to do is a unit for unit type insurance, where if you have one Bitcoin on, let's say, a crap exchange, right? And we do insure on crap exchange at a rate, and you're paying your premium, right? You have a single Bitcoin there. If that platform fails and becomes the victim of a hack, or has an internal theft or something like that, and for whatever reason they go out of business, you can file a claim with us and not get a dollar value amount back of Bitcoin, but you can actually get a Bitcoin back.
Okay, that's important because exactly like you were saying, it could take a month or even longer if they dispute and there's
Right.
an investigation and again it 10x's or whatever.
But if you're getting if you had a Bitcoin in and you get Bitcoin back, then it's a true indemnity. It's not subject to market fluctuations as if you were to get a snapshot of a dollar value. And that's the problem with all of the traditional insurance companies.
How
Is
long
there?
are you into this? How long have you been working on this
So
as a team?
we've been working on this for a year. Um, uh, the company formally formed in January of 2018, and we're looking to uh, expand our members, and find. I'm looking for another co-founder, honestly, that's good in the crypto space, that understands what's going on, that's been in a startup before. We're kind of innovative in a lot of ways, because although there has been competition that recently has popped up. I'm not going to mention names. There's a company out of Russia that's sort of doing something similar, but frankly, they wouldn't pass. At least where I am here in California, they wouldn't be able to form an insurance company based on what they're doing. So we want to be able to form a legal insurance company here in one of the most highly regulated states in the United States, here, California, and then kind of spread from here to all the other 50 sovereignties, and then kind of spread worldwide, so that everyone can take advantage of a true indemnity product in the crypto space. That's what I envision when I set out to make this company. And because, what if you have, your crypto assets and they go to the moon in that month, and you've got a pending
Well,
claim
that's what
for
insurance are
dollar.
for, right? That every, I know we're saying like, oh, it's gonna moon or whatever, but like that's the worst case scenario, and that's what insurance is really there for, is
Yeah,
really for
insurance
the worst
is
case
there to
scenarios.
provide an indemnity, which is
All right.
to get you back to where you were before,
Oh, big
not
shout out to
anything.
John. Hey, John, thank you so much for the super chat. Much appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah, that's so awesome. I was thinking, what you've been doing this for a year. What's some of like the red tape you've hit? Some of these brick walls that you had to bust through. What was some of like the headaches that you've run into along the way?
So the biggest one, and I've still really not been able to completely address it, is um, in order to have an insurance company in the state of California, the bare minimum that you can do is you have to have $5 million in your bank account. And so that's a
Wow.
pretty large hurdle
Yeah.
for, but that's a very small insurance company. Don't get me wrong. If you only have $5 million under asset management, that's a very, very small insurance company. Um, but what if, so we don't need dollars in a bank account. We need crypto assets in cold storage, right? Because that's what we're insuring against. We're not insuring against dollars.
Right. You're not in possession of private keys or anything like that, right?
Right, not an individual's private keys, but we would be in possession of the private keys of our reserves that we're insuring
No,
against.
no, right, that. But I mean,
Right,
like the exchange or the platform that I'm insuring my assets that are on,
right,
you're not in possession of those private keys. My private keys are insured on that platform.
correct.
Okay.
So, um, so yeah, the hurdle is regulators want to see dollars in a bank account, and we want to have crypto assets in cold storage. And even though they're equivalent in, or say we have $5 million in Bitcoin in cold storage versus $5 million in a bank account, right?
Right.
Should be the same thing, but regulators are like,
They don't
you still need,
acknowledge it, right?
you still, even though you have these assets over here, you still got to have the minimum $5 million in this bank account, and if you don't, then yeah, you can't do
Yeah.
business.
Like if I went to the
And
bank and showed them that I have Bitcoin, they're not going to give me a loan based on my Bitcoin holdings. They don't acknowledge that.
it's like if I were to have a warehouse, a giant warehouse full of brand new Lambos, right? I could go around insuring everyone's Lambo, right? Everyone who has a Lambo, I'd be like, dude, bro, sweet Lambo. You want insurance on that? Great. I have one. It's brand new, like 2 miles on it, bro. It's in the warehouse, it just sits there. You crash it, as long as you're paid up, you come drive that one out, boom, done. Same idea, right? You don't need dollars in a bank account because you got a warehouse full of Lambos.
Right, exactly.
But that's not how government works. Government wants to see your bank account at least to have this, and like, it doesn't see that this other money, this funny money, is like the same. It works the same if you're using that as the thing that you're insuring. So
So once you
that's
get past this problem, what's something that you're kind of like, seeing in the future as like the next hurdle in insuring, digital assets and things like that? What's like that next thing on your roadmap?
so the next thing for me at least would be to find someone that I can lean on to kind of uh, guide my ship. So I guess the next thing is to raise my seed round, and I've found a lot of good people in the space um, as far as insurance. I found a guy who could be a great mentor to me, but is going to be quite pricey, basically. So, but he's innovated an insurance product before that started here in California and went to all 50 states.
Oh wow. Okay.
So basically, that's what I'm trying to do, is like something new, something innovative, and having someone on the line at least that I can hire as a consultant that has done that before is going to be a huge benefit to me, as well as knowing what it will take to get from seed to Series A, because that's where we'll raise the bulk of our capital um, to invest in digital assets that we can then insure against.
Are
And
you
at
looking
that,
at going STO? Like, are you going security token or a traditional route?
right now, I'm not sure. There's a lot of questions as far as what's going to happen regulatory wise in the STO market,
Not
as
sure.
far as ICOs, etc. So uh, I hate to say I'm kind of waiting for the dust to settle, but I'm kind of waiting for some things to sort of happen, some dominoes to fall to figure out which path I want to go. I'm also in the process of getting my securities licenses so that I can, you know, take it, really, really know the inner workings of the financial system, so I can take advantage of doing an ICO or an STO if that's what it comes to, or if I'm going to be raising a traditional round of venture capital or whatever.
Oh, cool. I've been interested in, insuring my digital assets since I got into crypto. I kind of stumbled upon a project called DigiPulse. They're almost like a living will kind of thing where, you
Sure.
can set it up for like your mom to get your crypto if you don't interact with like your wallet for an extended amount of time. It has like a fail safe through their escrow or whatever. I just thought it was really cool, but nothing really came of them. I'm really interested in these insurance solutions, really, especially for the
Mhm.
average person because of what has happened, even from Mount Gox forward. I mean, we've seen many hacks and many ways people have lost access to assets due to
Right.
exiting. Um, so, like,
Yeah.
when you say insurance, though, and I'm sure my viewers would agree, the first thing we all think of is probably expensive. Like, what are your thoughts around like the costs for insuring digital assets? Is this something for the average person, like that's still working a 9 to 5 and investing in crypto, or is this more something for the more involved investor that's probably trading and using multiple platforms and stuff like that? Like, who do you see as your end users?
So yeah, our end users are most likely sophisticated traders that are uh, intending on keeping their assets on exchanges, and use probably many different platforms to trade, maybe arbitrage trade. You know, the uh, Even a more institutionalized sort of investor deck, um, where as we see these institutional players like Fidelity and Goldman, Merrill start to come in and trade crypto, um, they're going to have a need to insure on the platforms that they're trading on as well.
And the cost
Um,
associated with something like this, what's the percentage on it? Like, say, is it point 0.1 Bitcoin for every Bitcoin or something? Like, I'm just trying to figure out what that would look like.
so I have some ranges because I haven't hired actuaries to do that work yet. And that's going to be part of our process because, um, some of the ideas I can express in a range where, it might be anywhere between 5 to 10%, depending upon the different platform, the different risks of that platform, where that platform's physically located, what type of employees the platform has. We built a database of over 7 million different data points that kind of have different aggregate risk values. So, you know, in conjunction with an actuary or a team of actuaries, we can use this data to then, um, you know, get an actual price. Where right now I can kind of only express prices in that range, if that makes any sense.
No, I'm following you. I'm following you. So where do you see this going? It went, in a perfect world. Once there's a mainstream adoption and there are multiple ways to insure digital assets, things to that nature. What's kind of like that world look like to you, as opposed to how we insure traditional assets now?
Well, I see it. being a much more real time insurance where if you are a sophisticated trader, but you keep most of your coins in cold storage, uh, but you see a good opportunity to trade, so you need to move some assets onto the exchange, and this process may take you an hour or two. Uh, but you really have a high exposure risk during that time. You may only need insurance for a couple of hours for your assets, but like some of the real-time insurance products for ride sharing or
Like
uh,
micro insurance.
right. So
Insurance a la carte. Oh shit, I love
something
it.
you can sort of toggle on that allows you to be protected for a brief period of time, and then you can toggle off once you're safe.
Insurance faucets. I'm digging it, man. I can see that.
Because your average person won't want to be insured for an entire month. They're not going to keep their crypto on the exchange for the whole month. Um, Maybe they're only going to put it on and trade during the day, like 9 to 5. So they
That's how I
want
would see a sophisticated trader doing it. Get in, get out when you're done trading, get your keys off the exchange. But there's a lot of
right,
fees associated with that. So even the 5 to 10% on the insurance over time may actually cover the friction in between moving things off and on exchanges, in and out of cold storage, stuff like that, because those fees do add up, especially in like high transactional periods. Sometimes the transaction fees increase, and that's usually during the best times to be trading.
right,
So I
yeah,
can see the cost effectiveness over time on both sides.
right. There's going to be obviously an evolution as far as price goes and how that works, but I definitely see it as another option for people I just tell people, you wouldn't drive a $50,000 car on the road without car insurance, would you?
Right, and people actually
You
have insurance that they kind of toggle on certain cars, like
sure,
antiques or things like that they only take out on the road during the day. They don't
right,
drive it at night, so they only have insurance 8 hours a day because that car's not on the road when the lights turn on.
right, and or people with supercars, the day they're planning on driving their supercar, they call their agent and they say, "Hey, I'm taking her out for 4 to 6 hours today." So they just flip a switch on, or you know like Airbnbs have you know there's umbrella type coverage that you can get if you rent out your home for um, excess liability coverage for if you have strangers stay in your home.
Mm.
uh, so and it's very small. You only turn it on when they're using it, but some of the cost of renting it out can go into the insurance, so it pays for itself basically, and now you don't have to worry.
Yeah.
If they trash the place and really really mess it up and there's structural damage, et cetera, you have coverage. And right.
What about like the tinfoil hat, Black Mirror, I would say bad actor side of this, right? Like, insurance fraud in the future, where, collusion, things like that, and,
Mhm.
the chain analysis investigations of financial fraud in the future. How is there any way to kind of investigate or, kind of figure out if there were kind of any kind of frauds involved in cryptos and stuff like that on platforms, because it just seems like it would be so difficult of a thing to truly insure and kind of figure out in the background if there was any kind of fraud, right? Or
You mean
the
like an internal theft at the
Exactly,
exchange, or
exactly. Like, say, hey, I insured my Bitcoin, right? And I put it on an
right,
exchange I work at. I know we're gonna exit, baby. So like, I insured my own Bitcoin on a platform I know I own and operate and scam, and all my friends do the same thing. So your insurance insured my Bitcoin while I stole it myself because I am the operator at the end. So it's like the future of this, of financial theft and insurance fraud is really, crazy if you do have the perspective of like that Black Mirror esque tunnel vision.
sure. So I would say that not every exchange is insurable.
Oh,
You know,
perfect. All right, there we
a
go.
very small percentage of them are. There's so many exchanges. I mean, there's a lot of them, but not all of them are really insurable. I'd say probably 10%.
All right,
You know,
that makes sense. So, insureyourbit.com, like this is something that operates right now with actual users and customers, clients, right this moment.
so no, not really, but there is someone out there doing something.
Oh, I
Um,
was just wondering. So, what are some of the platforms though that you may be considering, if not actively insuring? What are some of those exchanges
so
that are more
like,
reputable?
yeah, I would say, the more reputable, more legislated, the more legalized exchanges, a la Coinbase, Kraken, um, you know,
Probably things like Gemini, I would assume, or
Gemini Exchange.
Binance is something out of the country insurable, like Binance, since they're in Malta.
I love Binance. I personally use Binance. I'm not sure, honestly, because of the nature of their Binance coin, as well as different issues with different legal jurisdictions. They're kind of playing the jurisdictional shell game, I like to say. Um, and, who really knows? I don't know. So if I don't know, I like to uh, move along to something that I can know, if that makes any sense.
No, I totally dig it. Totally dig it. So what is your thoughts right now on the space? Are we underprotected? Are we overexposed? How can
So,
people take
yeah,
action on their own
I
to kind
mean,
of?
don't leave your crypto on an exchange, dear God. Put it in a hardware wallet. You know,
I've actually kind of fell out of love with hardware wallets over the years. I feel like I've learned too much. Like, you know what I mean? Like for my own good, I'm
sure.
almost yeah. It's weird because I don't like the fact that like, say I have my hardware wallet and my bitcoins on it, and for some reason I had my private keys lost or damaged, and
Mhm.
my hardware wallet has to update. Now I have my hardware wallet won't work. Plug it in, it says
Yeah,
must update, and then you have to put in your private keys and restore it after the update. Well,
right.
what the hell do I do in that situation where I know I lost my private keys, but I definitely have my hardware wallet in access, but now there's an update and I can't access or I'm at risk if I do access it without the update. I'm at high vulnerability. So
Yeah.
it's just
You
I'm
definitely
kind of a
need a
little worried
secondary
about
back.
that. I've kind of gotten away from hardware wallets, more into things like just using an old Android phone, putting it on airplane mode,
Sure.
turn off the Wi-Fi, like download the Monarch wallet, and just turn it off. You have like a $30 Android phone now is like better than a hardware wallet that's going to have a mandatory update if you run into an issue, or even like a paper wallet with the BIP 138 encryption password on top of the private key. Something to that effect. But yeah, I see what you mean. I'm sorry to interrupt. It was just like hardware
No,
walls
no.
have kind of rubbed me the wrong way this past year with all these vulnerabilities and mandatory updates and things claiming to be unhackable. And I just think people
Sure.
should definitely learn more about hardware wallets than they kind of market themselves as.
Oh no, for sure. You definitely need a secondary backup. You should definitely keep your secondary backup in a earthquake, fire safe place.
Have you seen Data Bunker?
Yeah, the data bunker looks dope.
It's an EMP proof private key holder. Come on, man. That thing is badass.
Yeah, it does
It's
definitely
expensive
scream
though.
steal me.
Yeah, it's
Um,
$3,500, but they come in
right.
pink. Come on, and they look like little piggies.
Yeah, that's cute.
So for people that are coming to you, I know you got friends and family, and you're
Right.
working on this insurance aspect of digital assets. What is your advice for them? Like when people come to you and they're like, "How can I kind of take action?" On top of this, like we were just talking about before. I rudely interrupted though,
Oh
but
no.
like what's your sort of like elevator pitch to protecting yourself and risk exposure management?
Just basically be the owner of your own keys at all time. Like if you need to use the exchange for whatever reason, get on, get off. Um, you know, I, I think someone made a silly loop video of Andreas Antonopoulos saying "not your keys, not your Bitcoin" for like 3 hours or something. Like it really is true. If you're not the owner of your own keys,
Not
you're
your keys,
right,
not your coin.
right, pretty much, yeah. So just whoever it is, if it's your uncle, if it's the guy three doors down, if it's your daughter or your son that that may know this stuff better than you, uh, whoever is in control of those keys is really the owner of that coin. You
Possessions 9/10, and in crypto it's 10. 10 out of 10.
it's 10/10, yeah, right. And even if the law were to say, hey, give this up or whatever, is like,
I
no,
lost the private
I
keys.
forgot it, or I don't know.
Exactly.
Right.
So
So yeah.
so do you? Yeah, I was just saying from your end, what are some of your thoughts right now on where the space is?
So I mean, I definitely think the space is growing and evolving. We've got a lot of good talent coming in from a lot of different industries, approaching this in a lot of different ways. Um, Definitely early here in the space, though. We're going to see a lot of up and down still, I think. Um, but the cool part is all the interesting people that are coming into the space and that are building in and on projects around Bitcoin and Ethereum and all of the different platforms, and really things that are coming out really are, I think, going to blow us away as far as what actually is going to happen because of things in this space. People are going to come up with some amazing stuff that's just going to make me go, wow, where did that come from? And it's like you said, I never thought of a crypto asset owning a crypto asset or whatever. Like,
Right.
so
Insuring those collectibles though would be difficult, considering if there's like 1 out of 1 things to that effect,
oh yeah, stuff like,
non-replaceable assets that you can't really have in reserve.
right. So things that you can't replace like that, things that aren't fudgeable, let's say, wouldn't be insurable, but the native asset itself would be the the Bitcoin, the EOS, whatever platform it is, whatever the native currency is on that platform.
Who would establish the value? I guess it would be the open markets value, like the Kelly Blue Book value of the asset.
Right. So whatever the value of the asset almost doesn't matter. If you have 10 Bitcoin worth of coverage and you need to file a claim because the 10 Bitcoin are lost, then you get 10 Bitcoin back. Like, doesn't matter if those 10 Bitcoins are worth $1 each or $1 million each, like, it's just 10,
Gotcha. So even on the institutional side, we're seeing a lack of availability for them to move in safely. Even Coinbase just started the OTCs for the institutional investors.
I firmly believe that institutional investors are waiting some sort of safeguard, some sort of coverage, something that they can say, okay, we can get this insurance, and then we know that at least we can get our Bitcoin back, or at least we can get our F back, or yeah.
Yeah, well, that's what they're looking for. They need some kind of liability for their bottom end, right? Like they're not,
right.
It's not their money these institutional investors are using. They have
right.
people to answer to when shit hits the fan, and they can't take that risk with other people's money. So that's why we're not seeing that large capital roll in yet without these avenues.
Right, but an insurance product that these companies could hop in on can really allow an explosion of that to happen. And I firmly believe that until insurance is available widely, for those institutional type investors, that they won't enter the space. So what I'm trying to do, I think will move the space forward in that respect. but it's not just going to be me, because insurance is bigger than a single company. A single insurance company can't operate without a lot of other insurance companies operating and selling the same or similar products that then get bundled into a bigger reserve of insurance, up and up and up. And so what I'm saying is insurance doesn't work without the law of large numbers. So you can't have an insurance product without a lot of insurance clients and a lot of insurance, going in and out, right?
How far are we from something like that? How far do you think we are from seeing a large means of, multiple avenues to insure assets, even from the individual side to the institutional side?
So, I think that the product can be both an institutional product and a personal product, just on a different level. You wouldn't sell the same product to, Bob, who's got 5 or 10 Bitcoin on the exchange that he likes to trade in and out of, and he just keeps it there, versus, a large trading desk from an institutional investor that moves, tens of thousands of Bitcoins, through it every day or whatever, so you'd have a much different product for the institution versus the client. But I do believe that you can serve both kind of through a similar portal.
Gotcha. So, any thoughts on your mind? I know that you're on an interesting, side of this. When you're looking at this space, you see so many people,
right.
That kind of make you like, sit back on the edge of your seat, and you're like, oh, waiting for it. Like anything that's kind of caught your eye as the space has been moving forward through the bear market, and we've seen a lot of things. So far there hasn't been so much exchanges and platforms. We've kind of gotten through the scam, period. Sort of looks like, right? But
I mean, there have been some major hacks in 2018.
Right, so I was saying you got a perspective on this. You got an eye out. What are some of the things throughout the year that you've kind of oh shit moments in that aspect?
Well, there's been 3 major hacks this year. They say it's the biggest year for Bitcoin hack, theft, personal phishing.
I remember CoinCheck got hacked for 3 million NEM.
Right. The NEM attack. There was a Bitcoin gold hack on.
Oh yeah.
And so some of these currencies aren't even going to be viable for insurance. Because there's the currency risk, right?
Could that affect the investors' perspectives and their bottom line for market cap dominance if they're not insurable?
Absolutely.
What would be not insurable? Would Dash or Monero be not insurable because of the anonymity behind their keys?
So I don't know that privacy is necessarily something that's going to prevent insurability. Having the ability to do chain analysis and blockchain analysis and figure out where your keys came from is important, but doing the internal KYC AML process that we'll have to do on our customers anyway, from a legislative standpoint here in California, that's going to be, we just have to stick with state law, right?
And I didn't even think of that, going through the KYC process. That may be a deterrent all on its own to even get your assets insured. I didn't even think of that. Huh.
Well, yeah, it's just a lot more above board.
Right. But do you see that as a deterrent for larger, because crypto Bitcoin does appeal to the anonymity aspect, right? And being unbanked and not. So, wow, do you ever see a potential of a decentralized insurance DAO for these people?
I mean,
like a community-funded insurance or DAO.
So something. A Lloyd's Online. I definitely think there's a place for something like that. That whoever the platform can adjust the rate or whatever, and then individuals can go up and say ask for an insurance. And other individuals can just go up and underwrite by placing their assets in escrow, and then maybe it even gets put into a smart contract of some kind that gets executed
Yeah,
at
we're
some point.
building the future right now, man. We better start patenting
Dude,
things.
hold on. Let me get my paper.
Oh, Bitcoin Ben, thank you so much for the $10 super chat. Much appreciated. He says, hit those likes, folks. Pound that like button, everybody. Thank you so much. I saw we broke about 300 and some live viewers at one point. Much appreciated to everybody for tuning in. If you enjoyed the combo, please pound that thumbs up button. Don't forget to click subscribe and flick the alert bell right next to subscribe. I literally do these live streams, streaming with strangers, every day. I go live with somebody who wants to just join the podcast, and I'm actually right now doing a $100 giveaway. So if you look in the description box below, you can look for the link. There's a link to win $100, and I'm giving away $100 on Christmas. So everybody watching, please go
Merry
ahead
Christmas.
and enter that. I wanted to try to make somebody's day, and I was like, how can I do
Yeah,
this? So I
that's
decided
awesome.
to do a little Gleam.io campaign, and it's really cool because it picks a random winner. So it's not like I can be biased at like who wins. You just got to follow somebody on Twitter to enter, and then I get your thing. I hit random picker, and I email you, and you send me your Bitcoin address, and I send you $100 worth of Bitcoin.
Boom.
And I don't even have to, worry about people saying, oh, you picked somebody like blah blah blah, because Gleam.io handles all that. I hate when people do Twitter giveaways and like just says, hey, retweet this, I'll pick a winner, and like you picked your friend, you pick
Yeah,
some.
those Gleam ones are pretty fair. I'll give you that.
Yeah, I want a crypto one to come out. I mean, there's things like Bitbacker.io that are sort of competing with what Patreon's doing, like a crypto version, like where people can like subscribe and donate $5 a month in Bitcoin through like, kind of like a smart contract or something. Like it just pulls a little bit out of their wallet every month, and Patreon and the other platforms take a cut. So it's pretty cool to see these coming up. I just want to see more crypto competition, more use of the actual technology. Any projects kind of impress you this year? Anything that you've seen come up instead of like vaporware? You're like, oh shit, look at all the progress over here.
I've always been a fan of prediction markets, and as such, I've really been paying a lot of close attention of what's going on at Augur.
Shout out to Jeremy Gardner, baby. Augur's been one of my most intriguing projects that I've found. Like, I didn't really know about prediction markets until I found Augur and Rep. And I kind of fell down that little rabbit hole, and that was actually during the election where, Trump and Hillary and everyone was kind of betting on the election on Augur, and I was like, whoa, it blew
Yeah,
my mind.
yeah. So that's usually prediction markets have a lot of spike in activity in and around elections because it's a big sort of event. Other big sporting events, World
Yeah, oh
Cups,
yeah,
Super
Mayweather and
Bowls.
McGregor was on
You
Augur too. I
know,
saw a
yeah,
lot of
yeah.
activity.
So, I mean, anything that I, having a poker background, people like to gamble. Um, people like to put a little money where their mouth is, and in and election time is time that a lot of people, get in invested in what's happening in those type of markets. So
Right.
I thought it was a interesting last couple of quarters for them at Augur, and in what happened around the elections, basically. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a interesting way for the individual to kind of have, like you said, their money where their mouth is on where they stand politically. Because, bigger investors actually do invest in politicians kind of directly and kind of profit off of that success of the politician, pretty well financially. So, this is an opportunity for the individual little person to kind of get a financial gain off of, maybe
Right.
going door to door, hey, would you vote for Trump? Will you vote for Trump? And like they really support this person. But these prediction markets are really interesting things that I've kind of dove into for a little while during that period and saw many different avenues for different ways to, earn crypto. Because like I'm really
Mhm.
interested in earning it, not just like how do I buy
Sure.
this and stuff, how do I trade? Like you can kind of earn it if you get
Yeah.
into these prediction markets, and people do
If
traditional
if you're
trading
good,
on these
you
prediction
can.
markets.
Yeah. If you're good at spotting the trends or
Yep.
whatever, you can earn it absolutely. And um, you know, it's an interesting way to kind of earn some crypto. And yeah, I like that project anyway.
All right, so any final thoughts? Anything you want to talk about on your end? Anything you want to make sure we cover before we wrap things up? We have a couple minutes left, and shout out to our live streamers. Got over 100 guys sticking with us. Much appreciated for y'all tuning in. Don't forget to pound that thumbs up button.
Yeah, just wanted to say thanks for having me on, and keep doing what you do, because I love this streaming with strangers bit, and I've been following you for a while. So keep at it, Ken.
Much appreciated, man. I appreciate you taking the time and coming on, and it's really been a pleasure having so many people that actually want to talk to me. So thank you.
Yeah.
Much appreciated. I love talking to people, especially people that are in different places in this industry, because
There's
I learn
so
a
many
lot.
different places in this
Exactly, and it touches everything. It's not just money and banking. It touches everything, and it's all encompassing. It will be so ubiquitous to life, this technology. It'll be like the internet. How did we live without it? And how do people ever think that it was in a bubble and a computer wouldn't be in every house? It's sort of how I feel like right now, where it's like nobody will ever use Bitcoin. Not everybody will use. I'm like, really though, I don't think you see the bigger picture here, because it's touching everything, and I'm seeing that by doing this podcast and having awesome people like yourself that are founding projects come on and talk and kind of enlighten me in different aspects, like the insurance side of these digital assets. Like it's really interesting to think about that, especially like crypto to crypto, 1-to-1 backing. Like if I lose a Bitcoin, I get a Bitcoin.
Yeah, and really there are like 1,000 different rabbit holes because of how brand new this is. And just like the internet, not everything's going to work, but the ones that do are going to work huge, and they're going to be part of daily life.
Yep.
And they'll just be unavoidable, and you might not even know that you're using them or interacting with them or whatever, but they'll be there. And yeah.
So I'm gonna take take this last question here. I try to ask for an elevator pitch of a sort. So
Sure.
What is your elevator pitch for digital assets?
I mean, just digitally native assets are as people have more digitally native interaction with each other online, more need for digitally native assets are coming about, and we see these pop up, and there'll be more and more of them. But as we use them with each other, we need to have the same protections that we have with our physical assets, kind of in this digital space. And there needs to be some sort of product of insurance to get that, have that sort of trust, to bridge the trust gap.
Well said, Doug Muller, everybody, of InsureYourBit.com. Please don't forget to pound that thumbs up button. It looks like this. That subscribe button, it's big and red. Hit it. It'll say subscribed. That is awesome. And then flick the alert bell right next to subscribe. It makes a ding. If you don't believe me, do it. Find out for yourself, guys. Thank you so much, and have a day. Shout out to Satoshi's Ball by JarsLearnCrypto.com in Ottawa, December 15th. Monarch Token of Monarch Wallet, Stroken Tokens.com, Bitcoin Energy, and Bitbacker.io. Shout out